Peace, power, and love. Once again, before the sun comes up, Blackanized International Nubian conscious chess moves. Another morning that I like to just be motivating, stimulating, and this in the context of some love and peace to shower upon the clouds of our minds, to let everybody know that listening and those that are not listening, they're going to hear the word that it's a new day today. It's a new day yesterday. It is all new. It's new in redevelopment, relearning, refocusing to propagate peace and love among our people. Starting with ourselves first. Then family, then the community. And development of a unity that need to be implemented in our community in this day and time. Because it be generation after generation that we go through what we go through, from indoctrination, from social engineering. There's a sickness of social narcotics, of white supremacy and institutionalized racism, along with the Willie Lynch syndrome, to affect us in the wrong way. But we got to overcome it. Got to. This day and time. In this political climate at this time. Excuse me. I want to share something with us, though. Last night, when I was coming home, right, I stopped in a little deli or seafood place to get me some vegetables and fruit. So while I'm in there, a lady come in there, and she was talking about some crabs and this and that. No, she was already in there, that's right. I came in behind her. She was already in there. She was talking about some crabs, and she ain't got enough, and she walked all the way up this hill to get them, and she, wanted some good old crabs because she had some before, and she ain't had no money. Out of nowhere, while she talking, a young guy come in, young adult come in, and he say, how much you need? And the guy told her that she was about $11 short, right? She says, I'm $11 short now. I need some. I just want them crabs. So the young guy, what he did, which was a fantastic act to me, he said, how much you need? And she said $11 more, because she had 10 and it cost 21. He said, okay, I got that. Gave the guy the money and paid for the crabs, which was, she was $11 short. But that act right there was a genuine act. It was an act from the heart of being kind, or whatever, it was, whatever reason that he had behind it. But to me, it was like, a lot of times people talk about our young adults, how negative they is, how unconcerned they is, how the lack of current that they have. But to witness this made my day. And I told him that. I said, man, that is a great act, man. You don't normally see that. And people don't they don't give our youth the color of being kind and generous, even in the activity. And I just told him that, and I was saying, man, I don't know what you're doing or whatever, but this right here, it surpasses your acts or whatever for this moment, because you didn't have to do that. But you done it. She didn't ask. You just overheard the conversation. And then I say, he was leaving out, and I told him that. Then before he stopped, then I say, to be safe out there, because I don't know what you're doing, but just be safe. And then when he came back in the door or whatever, then he was asking anybody who wants some Percocets. And I say, oh man, he hustling, but his act was genuine. And also in that episode, and I said, man, that was a real, that was a great act, Then he said, I just spent $500 on my daughter also. So, with all that and the wrong that he was doing, that little bit of right, not justified, but we gotta give them credence. They got a better side to themselves. And I want to say Hotep or Ashe or Assalamu Alaikum that's Grace Jones family. This great morning that we are blessed to be up. But that little situation like that made my day, man, to see that. I kind of figured he was doing wrong, and he announced that he was doing wrong, but with that act of charity shows that they have another side to them, to that predatory or animalistic nature, or that the side of them that they out there doing what they doing, and then sometimes it lead to the murder of one of their other compatriots or peers or whatever, friends or whatever. But it is another side to them, and that's the side that we are trying to touch and bring them back around to being, that human being, that spiritual being. Bring them around to knowing themselves, understanding who they are, their true nature. With acts like that, acts of charity, instead of random acts of violence. That was a good thing yesterday. And also, another episode that really touched my heart, right? I was coming home and walking down the street, and I always speak to everybody in the neighborhood. And I seen this brother before, and I spoke to him, and then he spoke, and I said something about the weather. We went in there, then I mentioned hop, and he knew, and usually people don't know about hop or anything like that. A lot of people not conscious, so we got to talking, and man, the brother was really conscious, brother. He was on the front page of this the report of the people. He was in accord with the sciences and understood what was going on with this this joker, this Trump card that's in the White House playing political poker with our lives and stuff. And not only that, his cabinet members and all out of place and out of position from what they know, their trade. They're not practicing their trade because they're in another or area of the government or whatever. I don't understand that at all. You got a person that's deal with medical stuff, dealing with houses. He should be in the Department of Health and whatever it is, health and human resources. They got him in housing. Somebody else don't have any form or inkling of dealing with educational aspects of society, but Secretary of Education or whatever she is. It's crazy. It's what is it? Try to find a word that can convey what kind of madness this is, or the charade of this political parade that they are on is really asinine. I mean, I never seen nothing like that. I know I've been through how many presidents? One, two, three or four, five. Let me see, about 6 or 7 presidents, I believe. And only other one that was like an actor was Ronald. The rest of them was what they were, agents of this corporations. But this here, never seen anything. At least Ronald was an actor. He was acting like he was a governor, and then he came into being the president, but he was an actor and stuff. But this dude is not an actor at all. I mean, he been on TV, charading as a CEO of a game show and all that, but this ain't no game. This is really real. You affect so many people on the planet. You affect their lives by the decision you make. And we see that his decision policy making mentality is warped. I think he just, in this first 2 weeks or something like that, he didn't sign more executive orders than historically normal. I don't know. It's this, I just hope or will that nothing come out of this that can offset or throw everything in a chaotic situation. I'm talking about like anarchy or police state or even a race war, because I know that they're trying to bring a new world order out of chaos and confusion. We don't need to be, or that don't need to take place, really, in this reality, our reality that they have distorted with their manipulation of all the sciences, because they stole our sciences of everything that they know and got. They got it from us, from ancient Kemet, Timbuktu, some library, some great library or some great place in Africa long ago. Because this game that they're playing is this game. This game hasn't just come out or come about. They've been working at this for years, generation after generation. Now they feel like they might be at their, what shall I say, the final phase of implementation of their new world order. We just got to be diligent in development in our community, within ourselves as a people, as a divine people, as a righteous people, and do righteous deeds and righteous acts that we're capable of, even our young brothers and sisters who have a predatory, animalistic nature, that we got to help them overcome. What else is happening? There's not too much happening on any other sphere or realm or that I can think of that will be something like to can uplift us or be motivating, or just those random act of kindness that we may have did in our lives. But to see those two things I just talked about, they were very exhilarating, very uplifting, to see the act of the young warrior, young adult who had show he has kindness in his heart, has charity in his heart, you know, that he can care for somebody that he don't know. It's not always about hurting. It's about uplifting and sharing, your wealth, even though it's illicit gains. I've kind of figured that about him, but it's just the act itself. Touched my heart, man. It melted me to see the act, to just be standing there and watching the whole scenario, where he just come up out of nothing, out of nowhere, and offer, to help this lady with $11 extra. I say, Hotep, Ashe, Assalamu Alaikum, peace, the brother Galen Coles. Thanks for joining. Another great, inspirational, revolutionary, spiritual, righteous brother in this realm and in this dimension. We need to all come together and unify and just start developing, man, in our communities. No matter what, just try to unifying and developing and organizing in our communities on every level. Educational, spiritual, economical. We need an economical base with a culture base, along with a culture base and a spiritual base, so that we can, develop along those lines in this day and time. Always, that's mutual, my brother. Thank you. We got to uplift one another always. We got to always be that positive energy, no matter what is going on in our lives, whatever obstacle or whatever trial and tribulation we may be going through. We got to get on the other side of it, confront the situation, and be about the development of our free nation, of our nation that we got to develop in this day and time, because it's just an extension of what we've been doing all the time, throughout time, from the first moment of coming in contact with these people and them, they doing what they were doing. The first moment that occurred is part of the revolution in this day and time, in this present time. It's just we caught up with the plan, the game plan of our ancestors. Because every generation we're under attack, and so every generation we should be building to establish our righteous demeanor in this demonic society that's supposed to be a democratic society. But we know the truth and we know the reality, so we can't be this, like they say, sheeple being led to the slaughter, or developing or socially engineered to commit self-inflicted genocide, which is like suicide. We just can't just be haphazardly just following the dictates of this system. We got to be strong. We got to be, that new disposition, that new brother and that new sister that deals with the energy of the Creator that's within us, within our temple. And we understand the inner verse to develop it so we can have a profound effect upon the universe. We got to continue this process every day. We got to breathe it. We got to be motivators of each other, and especially those that we find that may not be as conscious or aware as the ones that are conscious or aware of our dealings or our situation in this society, and the attack excuse me, of those in the high affluent positions in this corporation that be behind the scenes and put people like this guy that's in the emperor's seat, put him in position to run the corporation. But this guy here is really he off balance, and he just, you know, to see this guy and him talking, his disposition, his arrogant, egotistical, self-centered, egomania attitude is so disabilitating to not only himself, but the position that he had. At least other peoples that deal with it, at least they camouflage their motives and their plans and all. But this guy is so foolish, and he don't know anything. Like he been living somewhere else. He don't know our story, or he just don't really care about us as a people. Again, I'm being redundant and reiterating his foolishness or his lack of knowledge. He the other day, the first day of Black History, he talk about Frederick Douglass like Frederick Douglass was alive. Man, how dumbfounded is that? How asinine is that? How that shows you this lack of knowledge of us as a people and our story. Like he don't really have a concern for us as a people or our story anyway. He just dealing with these multi-billionaires that he's getting in his cabinet, and to only be concerned about implementing their plan, you know, part of their 20-year plan or their 30-year plan that they've been working on since time began, really. The time that they came in contact with us, and then they established their secret societies and Masonic societies, and, you know, trying to establish this new world order to tear down this order, this political system in the way that it is. Brother Galen Coles asked the question, how can we combine our skills to build black within this system? The question is really answered in the question. We have to go black. We have to be black. We have to empower black. And whatever skills that we have, whatever, you know, like if it's, you know, electrical, if we can teach a trade, electrical, plumbing, or whatever, heating and air, those are trades that we can develop to not only economically to help us establish what we need, but also to build what we need. And I'd like to say peace, assalamu alaikum, hotep ashe to brother, there's a big swoop, Frederick Ballinger, the great singer, who is a poet. But I hope that I'm answering your question succinctly so that it can be understood that we have to develop an infrastructure to this system that we're in now, this system of white supremacy and institutionalized racism, and the charade, it be charaded as a democratic system or process or whatever, but it's not that when you indoctrinate people with a Eurocentric concept of life and That's the curriculum in the schools. But at this point in time, we can't overlook what the school system is becoming or has become in the last 10 or 15 years. It's dumbing down our children, and that's their objective, to dumb down our children. But we got some young geniuses. We got young Emoteps in these school systems. So they're not falling for anything, and they're just doing what we ask them to do, and their self-motivation, to be honor roll students and to do what's right in school. But in this day and time, I just hope, and I will it not to be, that this system is parlayed into anarchy or a police state or even a race war because of the children, because they went through all they went through to reach the level of academic excellence. And, the next stage is going to the colleges, even though they're still going through the process of institutionalized racism. So therefore, it has to be on us. And another part of building skills within this system, we got to teach our own children the culture of who they are. If we can, we should send them to African-centric schools. Their first learning should be that, so they'll be well-grounded in an identity of who they are, so they won't go through an identity crisis. Because a lot of us, go through the system and become exactly what the system wants us to become, a replica of some type of Eurocentric thinking and actions. But see, when you go against yourself, go against your nature, it ain't going to be right. You might seem like you're right, but you're in contradiction to yourself. You're in contradiction to your own nature by the divine decree, and it's not going to work, because you're not going to be the person that's supposed to have that giving nature, that cooperative nature. You would develop a competitive nature. It would be me, and my all the time, because that's the indoctrination that you're indoctrinated when you go through their system. You go to their system to perpetrate continual perpetration of this system, as far as being a worker and all that, with no identity, no relation with your own line, your own lineage. And it'd be like you be so selfish because you be programmed that way. And we got to come out of that. We see it every day. All we got to do is look in the reality, what we face with. And we can see that the attitude of people that's under robot control, or the people that sold their soul and become Negro pen. They be unconcerned. All they be about is themselves. They don't be about establishing anything or wanting to establish anything. They don't even want to share the wealth and all. We got so much. We got everything we need to, like the question you asked, to be within this system, to build. We got to unify and build black. We got to come to a black understanding of our universe and who we are. We got to be culturally inclined and come out the paradigm of this 2017 years, which 500 or 400 and almost 500 of those years we was in captivity, so-called slavery. But you can never enslave anybody. There's no such thing as a slave. It's a acceptance of that indoctrination. But we're free beings. We're just naturally free. We come in this world free, not with any titles or labels or anything like that. And especially this thing about the original sin, that is a fallacy. You ain't did nothing, so how you going to be held accountable for doing something? And it's my perception, like that AA and NA and AA, if you stop getting high, drinking or whatever, then in my perception, then you're not that anymore. I can't go somewhere and keep talking about I am an alcoholic. Hello, my name is this, and I'm an alcoholic, or I'm a dolphin, or if I'm not doing it no more. Since, like, for instance, myself, I haven't smoked a cigarette, drunk a beer, any alcoholic beverages or anything since 1985. Was almost 30 years, right? 32 years that I haven't done that. You think I'm gonna say I'm an alcoholic or I'm a love boat smoker or anything? I'm not doing that no more. I refuse to do it because I feel better now on this natural proclivity that I have, or this natural high that I have. I don't need the deal. Or so you've been like that since '87. Yeah, so it's a great thing, and it's a great feeling, you know. And my high is natural, you know, and I think I have a better high because I don't have no hangovers or anything. But it's about our development and growth as a people to uplift each other, man. Spiritually, economically, and educationally and culturally. Because it is a war we going through. We've been under attack for so long. And the thing about it, we don't even know we be under attack because we think we're doing the right thing and stuff like that. We go to the educational institutions, but that's where the attack begins. Because the curriculum is not for us, not set up for us. It has a perception or the mentality that it develops is a totally alien mentality for us naturally as a people of Aborigine and indigenous and, say, African descent. Because it be about these people they are social scientists and they're mad scientists, but this is their thing. They're masters of this area of teaching and learning and all that. They took the technology that they stole from us and ran with it. That's why they got apparatus. I said I was supposed to get the information about HARP, but I haven't did it. I'll do it though. HARP is the apparatus that they can manipulate the weather, you know, create storms, create weather conditions that's conducive to what they're trying to do. I knew something was wrong one time when that tsunami happened in Japan. I say that they caused that. I was saying that it was a nuclear explosion underwater that caused that. Could have been that too, but it was the HARP, this machine that they can manipulate the water. They're so, these people, they have this messed up everything. They got the knowledge that they stole from us to make everything pleasant. They got the knowledge to have, like, on Earth is so spacious and so gonna have so much production for food and all that, but they got a system called capitalism that is about hoarding and making conditions of a want or need when it ain't supposed to be so like that. They want to hold it for demand, you know, for demand and needs and like that, when it just put us in a situation where, you know, people are hungry. There's a starving people on the planet Earth. Yeah, the brother he making a statement, Brother Coles, talking about when, like Brother Malcolm, when he was in school, he wanted to be a lawyer, but the teacher said, nah, you can't be no teacher, no lawyer. Because that's the miseducation of so-called Negro, and they don't want us to have those type of aspirations and dreams and all that at that time. But this time, they don't mind you long as you're working for them. If you going to school to get a job, then see, that's part of the indoctrination. You should be going to school to be a CEO, to own and control, to be a producer, not a consumer, or not to work for anybody. But if you so happen to work for somebody, then you want a salary that's feasible. You want from $100,000 up to $1 million salary, so you can have some financial freedom. And brother Frederick also made a statement about African history is world history, and that we are a living truth of all humanity, which is definitely a true statement, because all other races, or even the kind of man or mankind, comes from humanity. Everybody comes from us, because, for instance, if the European was the first on this planet, and it's scientifically proven that it cannot, no other colors can come from that, I really ain't gonna say white, that pale skinned person, pink, say pink, or whatever. That doesn't happen scientifically, but it's proven that every other color comes from dark hue, the black color. That's scientifically proven. So if they were first, would nobody be here? And they would die out, because they dying out naturally from the sun anyway. See, but we are melanated. We protected from the ultraviolet sun rays, and every color come from us, because we was the first everywhere on the planet Earth. You can check out photos where the Japanese were us first. I'm talking about the dark hue. The Chinese, the Scottish, the English, and all that. They were us first, and then through migration or whatever into colder climates and stuff, they lost the hue, especially the ones that went in the caves of the Caucasus Mountain in Europe. They really went through the transformation of becoming from that human being to a kind of being in them caves with all the animals and stuff, and dealing with the wolf packs and all that, and cohabitating with them, the animals. That's why they love dogs so much. That's why they say a dog is a man's best friend, because it also was licking that leprosy of their wounds that they had. Man, I should be on that side, because y'all like popping all these questions and quotes is a good thing. That's what I like, interaction, and we need interaction. You know, Brother Frederick is talking about dealing with the higher self and the lower self, and that's what it's about. And then Brother Cole's talking about ethnic cleaning, and most definitely. See, if they read us of our culture, then we dealing with their culture, then our story, like, they don't want us to know our story. They want us to be confined in 2017, like I said before, in like the 498, or I say 500 years to round it off. We was in captivity, or so-called slavery. Then 100 years after that, we went all the way to going through the black laws, the Jim Crow laws, getting hung and lynched, raped, and everything. And really, then they don't want us to accept who we are. They want to block our culture off, and all the sciences that'll make us elevate and enhance our being beyond the five senses. If we know about our culture, if we go black to ancient Kemet, or come over here in this land where the Aborigine were us, and we dealt with the natural inclinations. We was in tune with nature, and dealing with all the healing and all the things that propelled us into the understanding of being in harmony with nature. So for instance, you know, all the scientists that they label bad and evil and stuff like that. If we deal with our African spirituality, we know that it's not like that. Like people practice voodoo, called voodoo and stuff like that. We heal people with that, with juju. So-called witches, they deal with herbs and spices and all that. So they took them women or whatever and hung them and burned them at the stake because they didn't understand them. They don't have understanding. They have understanding or overstanding, but no understanding because the universe to them don't exist. They just deal with the universe. And so they miss a lot. But that's their culture. We can't not be culture-sized by them, because being culture-sized by them is really suicide. It's culture suicide. So we got to realize that and rise above that when we go to their institutions and all that. Well, we just got to do this for us. We got to save us from ourselves, and we got to save us from this demonic society that we live in. We've been in it for years, and we still here. We're not going nowhere. We're not. It's by divine decree that we're going to be here. It says the first will be last and the last will be first. We just got a thirst for knowledge of self and implement it in our life. First they said it was 2 applications that was over here, and then they said it was 1. So I don't know what they're going to do next. So I'm going to say peace, power, and love sent from above, from the Creator to us and from our ancestors to bring us together in development of our environment, of our society, of our communities. We just got to be strong in our effort in this war that's going on against us, and don't be caught up in self-inflicted genocide or none of that. Let's take this ride to the regions of our inner being, in the abyss of our inner being, so that we can have an effect on the apex of the universe from the universe. And I say that with a thirst of knowledge, or a thirst of us unifying the gods and goddesses of the melanated nature, divine nature that we have. I want us to be brothers and sisters. This is my want. This is my desire, and I will it into being, that we become who we're supposed to be as melanated beings, for love for each other that's overwhelming, that we develop our communities, we be protectors of our communities, and if it be the will of the Creator to give me that breath of life, I'll see us tomorrow. And I humbly apologize for them saying that this operation is overheating and cut my program short. That disorder, right? That energy that they break or whatever. Well, I guess just got to find out what's going on so that won't happen again. With that, though, I say love, peace, and understanding from the melanated, energetic people that we are, the spiritual people that we are. One love, one goal, one purpose, one aim, because there's only one Creator. I want to apologize that it's done again. They say the apparatus is overheating. I don't know what it's overheating from, but whatever. I got to deal with that. Oh, man. So with that, I just want to, I guess, close out. So this right here, this portion will be short and to the point. The point is that we got to come together, live together in harmony and peace, and help those that's in that situation of still dealing with their animalistic nature, predatorial nature, so that we can help them overcome, so they can come into the circle of love and peace and understanding, and be part of this family, this universal family that we're a part of. We got to make a connection globally, because it's a pandemic, worldwide, imperialistic attack upon the world. The control of the world is what they're after, and the soul is the prize in the game that they play. We just have to be soulful people and don't play their game. We got to be serious about what we do in this life, this day and time, and develop our minds, bodies, and spirits on all levels, spiritually, academically, everything. We got to learn the sciences that develop our universe through the understanding of who we are. We got to understand the energy points on our temples, with the energy of the Creator, the divine source of light, of energy in our being. We got to understand the 7 chakra centers and the kundalini. We got to understand melanin and the pituitary and the pineal gland. And it's just for us as spiritual people. It's prescripted in our DNA. And all we have to do is open up naturally to the inner voice, the voice of the Creator and our ancestors, to guide us, to keep us on the path of righteousness and growth and development. So this is just going to be, I'm just going to close out with my shout out of love, self-love, that's connected to universe.